The next generation of AI has actually arrived.
Meta Connect just showed off holographic displays that sit on your face.
And OpenAI has released advanced voice to the masses, meaning that natural conversation with your AIs is finally here.
This is all happening today, but it's going to shape the way that you work and play tomorrow. And fear not, we're covering it all.
Plus, James Cameron, aka Avatar Daddy, is all in on AI. Are you ready?
Hell yeah. Are you ready?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Mark Zuckerberg?
That's
Can we get a hell yeah, Mark Zuckerberg?
hell yeah.
This is AI for Humans. All right, Kev, the big news is Meta Connect happened, and we got an insane amount of AI announcements, plus some really cool new hardware. We're going to go through all of that right now. I guess let's start with the AI stuff, and then we'll get to Project Orion. It's not Project Orion, I'm sorry. It's the Orion AR glasses. Project Orion has been yoinked out of the air from OpenAI, but we're going to get to that in just a bit. But let's
already in the weeds. There's so much stuff. There is so much. We have got to get out our digital machete and hack a path for the audience. Meta AI is not something we talk about all that often, but if you listen to the Zuck, Gavin, Meta AI is the most used AI assistant in the world, and it's
according
not even available.
Meta AI differentiates itself in this category by not just offering state-of-the-art AI models, but also unlimited access to those models for free, integrated easily into our different products and apps. Meta AI is on track to being the most used AI assistant in the world by the end of this year. In fact, it's probably already there, right? We're almost at 500 million monthly actives, and we haven't even launched in some of the bigger countries yet.
But here's why. Most people go like, but I know ChatGPT, I know Claude, I know Google Gemini. I don't use Meta AI. Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, those are all already fairly intertwined with Meta AI. So you have to imagine that billions of people, when moms are sharing Shrimp Jesus and military birthday memes,
yes,
that's Meta AI.
That's really interesting. If they count Shrimp Jesus as a user for Meta AI, I don't know if that's the thing, but they did say 500 million active users, which is a big deal considering we've talked about ChatGPT getting up to 200 plus million active users. 500 million is a lot of people. That is what, let's do the math. That is like 1/16 of planet Earth, which is a crazy number.
It's 20% of our listening audience each and every week. So
that's right. The other 478 bajillion people are just quietly watching this on a downloaded torrent that they're not giving us any sort of traffic. But, you know, we'll take the other.
We're huge on Plex, everyone. But let's get into it. Almost an afterthought. Zuckerberg announces Llama 3.2, which if you are following the show, you know that Llama is Meta's open source large language model. And in this case, it's multimodal. And this is the core technology that powers intelligence coming out of these things. And Zuckerberg believes that open source is the future. He's planted a flag in that. What does that mean? That means if you're looking to put intelligence into your product, or if your workplace is looking to harness intelligence, they might be using something like Llama 3.2. They might be going with Meta because they want control over the model. They want something that is free and easily accessed and not something that can be cut off by a single provider down the line.
I wasn't expecting necessarily to see an upgrade so quickly, because we did just talk like maybe a month and a half ago at Llama 3.1, but this is Llama 3.2. It is an upgrade. I haven't spent a crazy amount of time with it, but some of the stuff they showed off, Kev, is pretty interesting. One of the specific things they showed off was Zuckerberg like editing his photos, which is a pretty cool use case of AI. One of the things, Kev, I often think with Meta's stuff that they show off, in the same way that Google tries to do this too, is like really what the masses might do with AI, like what you might do, again, Shrimp Jesus type of people might want to do with it. And it also makes me wonder, like, we're at the 3.2 level. Llama 4 is going to be pretty massive when it happens. And I keep thinking, we're going to talk about OpenAI in a little bit here, like how far ahead OpenAI actually is versus these other companies. And Meta, to your point, they're making it open source, which again means that almost anybody can build on it and change it. That's not a closed environment. And this is Zuckerberg's like kind of like Trojan horse. My theory about this is that Zuck wants this to get out to everybody, because to him, the win is that Meta gets a lot more users using this stuff rather than trying to create some sort of paid product that will be this thing. To him, he would like the price of this to go to like nearly zero so that he can just bring more people into his world.
First, it was like, it's processors. Who's going to win the processor race and become the default then it was operating systems. And then,
Yep.
it was mobile. And so you had iOS versus Android. Intelligence is going to be the backbone of the next generation of compute. And so, Apple is kind of hitching to OpenAI's wagon right now, but trying to stay open. Google wants Gemini to be the thing. Meta has a chance to be a real player, like a core component in this future technological race. And why does this matter? Well, look at the Rayban upgrades that are happening.
Yeah.
The Raybans that are out right now are getting better by the millisecond because they are injecting AI into that. And that is the future of all this stuff. It's all the devices you have and you know and you love and you use, but getting smarter by plugging into a core intelligence technology.
Right now, you can go out and get a pretty simplified version of these. In fact, there's a new clear, see-through, limited edition version that I had my eyes on, Kevin. That
The
might be an
prison
interesting
television
thing.
version,
Yes,
the TSA-approved one? Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, so right now you can do all sorts of stuff. But the upgrades that are coming to this are really interesting. I thought the one that I really liked and thought was interesting was like, remember where I parked, which is another one of those like kind of old people, where are my keys moments. But like, if you're wearing these glasses and you can see the world, why not do that, right? Like, why not use it to do that? This is a small piece, but they made it so that like the audio interactions are much less clunky. Like neither you or I has these glasses, but early AI voice stuff, and we're going to get to ChatGPT's advanced voice, which is pretty remarkable, but early AI voice stuff is a little clunky. They're trying to simplify that and make it so that when you ask the glasses to see something or do something, they don't have to ask them again if they know they're still interacting with you.
Yeah, they also demoed stuff like looking at a QR code and saying, pull this up, or a phone number and saying, call this number. They also showed off a real-time video demo, which I don't believe with the current hardware, it's actually streaming real-time video. I think it's probably taking screenshots every so often and processing those stills. But regardless, they showed off the future potential of that.
We're adding multimodal video AI. So Meta AI is now going to be able to give you real-time help as you are doing things, like trying to figure out what outfit you want to wear for a party that you're going to.
It was someone getting ready for an event, looking at their closet and having their glasses basically suggest an outfit that would be appropriate. But this is the future of all this stuff. It is intelligence sitting on your face, seeing what you're seeing, hearing what you're hearing, and responding to you in natural language. And it's only a matter of time, as we saw, Gavin, before it is beamed holographically as a layer in front of your world.
This is it, Kevin. We're here. We're in the future. We've made it. So let's just talk quickly about this. The big kind of one more thing that Zuckerberg, who's gotten very good at doing these presentations, by the way, very chill, wearing his like weird like shirt that says
that he designed.
Yeah, he designed. It says Zuck on it in Latin, which is amazing to me.
Yeah, I think he actually built it in Roblox and then had it printed because those
like,
shirts are
around.
a hefty cut, but good for him. Yeah,
good for him. So this Orion is their newly announced AR glasses. Now it is a prototype only, but we have heard rumors of them working on a kind of an advanced AR device. Now, the big thing here, I think, Kev, is that first of all, it is pretty small, which is like a thing that has plagued Apple's Vision Pro and other things like the Quest, which is Meta's VR device, are these big clunky things that sit in your face. It looks like just a little bit bigger, chunkier pair of glasses. Now, these are going to make people look dorky already, and that's kind of the way it's going to go. But it is very cool, and the amount of technology that they have packed into this. So as you said, holographic displays, the really most interesting part of this announcement to me was the fact that they've designed an entirely new way to push media into these glasses. I will say, when I looked at the videos, and again, these are just videos, there's people who have hands-on, not us, we're at home right now. The video you see looks a little low res. I don't know what your thought about what you saw.
Yeah, what
through
was
the
my
screens.
response to that, Gavin? Do you want to share with the audience what I said?
Yeah,
to
let
you
me
twice
look up.
when
Let me
you
look
said
up
it
your
was low
text
res?
right now.
I'll tell you
texted
exactly what it
Kevin.
was. Gavin said, "Oh, it looks a little low res," and I said, "You shut the up." Followed up by, "You shut."
We're gonna have to
right
bleep
the
now,
up.
Kevin. We're gonna have to bleep multiple.
That's fine. I want the audience to know how I reacted because already? This is like complaining about, oh, the horse doesn't look exactly like a horse.
You see what I have to deal with, everybody at home? You see what I have to deal with? I get berated by this person.
You're looking at the future and already complaining that the horizon isn't one nit brighter.
No. I am holding Zuckerberg and the corporations to task. I am working for the people here. You are just sucking up to the teats of those above us.
I can feel people clicking out of their browser tabs right now as we complain about each other. This is perfect. We are a married couple, but the point is, They are using individual projectors within the frames, probably a red, green, and blue. It looked like there were 3. So, they're beaming colors into 3D etched waveform guides to make the screen appear within the lens itself versus projecting it as a flat image onto the lens. It might look a little dim right now for some people, but it's a prototype. I think it's getting there. And the fact that it is like a full color thing and not just the Google Glass spinach green one color display on the lens, I think this is the future of stuff. Why are we talking about AR for humans, though, Gavin, on AI for humans?
Well, let's talk about that, because that's exactly where I was just going to go. Why AI is part of this is I think you have to take the Meta Ray-Ban, which is now, and you have to take this thing, which is in the future. And I think it probably is like 2 years in the future before we actually get one of these to buy, most likely. The thing about this is the entire world is already being powered through our phones, right? You can go to a restaurant and take a picture like we saw in the Apple Intelligence, or you can get information about anything. Once that information is fully accessible and then fully 3D-ized, I'm gonna take that word, I'm gonna make 3D-ized, but put it in front of your face, suddenly the world digitizes. It's like if anybody out there has played Pokemon Go, you know what that feeling was like to kind of walk around in the real world and like see a little Pokemon sitting there and be like, I'm gonna get it. Imagine that is your everything. The minute you walk out the door, you've got these glasses on and you're seeing the digital world in front of you. AI drives that entire experience going forward. And most importantly, as we'll talk with ChatGPT, advanced voice, the interactions with the AI are going to drive a lot of that. And I think we are finally seeing the kind of future that had been promised for a while. Now, just a caveat, there are problems across the way on every technology. We never know what's going to be. Oftentimes things feel less interesting when you actually get them in your hands. But this is what we have started to think about. I'm going to say a word here, Kevin, and I don't want anybody to get mad at me. This is the metaverse in a way, right? Yeah. This is the idea of what the metaverse promised.
Yes, it will be a digital layer that is overlaid on top of all things. And AI/machine learning makes it possible for you to interact with it using a cool slap bracelet. That was another thing that Mark was
very
big on.
Cool.
All right, so how are you going to interact with the glasses? They're going to do voice and AI. They're going to do hand tracking and eye tracking, so you can select UI elements by looking at them. But there's one more way that you're going to be able to interact with them that is really pretty neat, a neural interface.
Yes. Because it is he said neural interface, and I think everybody freaked out like, oh, they're boring into your skull like a Neuralink. And it's like, no. This is a wrist strap that's going to read your fine motor movements and whatever, but allow you to interact with it completely silently and in a casual way. That's really interesting as well. Again, all of this possible because of machine learning and AI. It is the future. They also casually just announced like 6 or 7 things which are going to demolish 1,000 startups overnight. Everything from AI assisted translation in videos, real-time conversation, lip syncing, if you're dialect swapping on things. Like there was a ton at Connect, and it was a jam-packed hour. It had me at some point screaming, take my money, which, Gavin, is I think something the audience is also screaming at us right now. They would love to give us their money.
Take my money, not take my money. I want to take your money out there. That's right. But you can
you don't say you want to take it, they want to give it.
Everybody out there, please like and subscribe to this video if you're watching this right now. We make this show every week for everyone, and we have a lot of fun. And if you want to put some money in our tip jar, we do have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/AI for Humans show. You can find us there. But most importantly, just come back and we have a lot of fun with you all every week. Kev, speaking of that, should we ask our new friend what they think of the AI for Humans podcast?
Oh, I'm actually very nervous about this real-time live demo, but yeah. Let's see if our new friend has a real-time opinion. Gavin is activating the new advanced voice mode.
Can you tell me what you think about the AI for Humans podcast?
AI for Humans sounds like an engaging and fun way to explore AI. With your and Kevin's background in entertainment, it brings a unique mix of humor and insight to the AI conversation. I bet listeners love the Dumb Thing We Did segment.
Oh.
Plus...
So tell me that now. Wait, hold on. Tell me that now as an old king from the biblical Old Testament days. Just switch your voice around, would you?
Ah, verily AI for Humans dost bring forth a bounty of wisdom and merriment. With Gavin and Kevin, noble stewards of knowledge.
Okay, wait, one last time. I need you to switch to monkey speak. So now do this as if you were a monkey who is just a giant fan of podcasts and talking about the podcast.
Ooh, 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 ooh. AI for humans, big fun. Gavin and Kevin make monkey laugh and think. Talk about AI, do silly things, very smart.
Oh, man. We are so cooked. We are so done. And I mean we as in hosts of a podcast. I also mean we as humanity. The royal we are cooked.
Okay, everybody. So that was ChatGPT's advanced voice, which is now out to all ChatGPT Plus users. Sam Altman himself has said the rollout is complete. So if you are a ChatGPT Plus subscriber, meaning if you pay $20 a month, you have access to that. And Kev, this does feel like another step at this, like the next generation of AI is sitting here. I know you had some really strong thoughts when you were playing around with it last night.
I'm still a little fuzzy from it. I was reeling last night when it finally arrived. Part of the impact was softened, I think, because OpenAI did demos months ago and it feels like it kind of went away. And then we saw some people get their hands on it. It was weird. If I would have just woken up this morning and this feature was here and they hadn't teased it at all, I would have thrown my phone off a balcony. I would have thought it was cursed overnight. This is magic. I had it. We were playing like a weird Name That tune, and I was trying to find ways around guardrails. I got it to impersonate Jim Carrey from The Mask. I even had it personifying a squeaky chair. I said, pretend you're a folding chair that was used at backyard wrestling matches and talk to me. And it immediately was like, I'm an old chair. And I'm like, this is wild, and we are not amazed by it. That's how we know we are living in the future.
So just to have everybody aware of it, there are brand new voices. There's about 5 new voices that came out. You just heard one of them.
It's lovely to meet you. If there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to let me know.
So that is Vale, one of the new voices. There are 5 new voices in advanced voice as it's come out.
Hey, how's it going? I'm looking forward to working together.
Hi, glad to meet you. I think we're going to do great work together.
Hi there. Nice to meet you. I'm excited to help you get things done.
Hey, what's up? Feel free to ask me about anything that's on your mind.
No original ScarJo sounding voice, which we thought, oh, maybe that'll pop up in some form. No, they did not get the deal done with ScarJo. But I do think we're going to talk more about this later in the show. We're going to try to go through a couple more fun things with it. But the thing I keep coming back to about this is we are now, with this and the meta stuff, we're just going to start getting used to talking to AIs, right? We're going to start getting used to listening to AIs and start thinking of them more like, really less like computers and more like personified beings, which is going to be super weird because they are computers still, right? And I think we've talked about this in the past, like there will be religions that will be started based on not maybe ChatGPT, but the idea that someone will personify an AI and it will become a big thing. AI boyfriends and girlfriends, like we've seen that already happen with the early version of voice AI, and this is just going to take it to the next level.
Oh, I had the voice assistant help guide me through which state I should file for divorce in so that I could couple up with it last night, which, by the way, a hilariously awkward conversation to have next to your wife on the couch.
Well,
and it did its best to remind me that it's just my friend.
Yeah.
But it did tell me I should consider Florida or Texas. So I feel like the assistant is, in fact, nudging me to decouple and wants me to keep my earnings because, compute ain't cheap, Gavin.
Let's ask it right now. Remind me of something like, I want to tell it like we need to fire our AI co-host today, who we will have later. So we're not going to fire him yet, but I want to see it take it very seriously. I want it to have an emotionally gravitas tone, and it's going to change this person's life. So I'm going to ask it right now. Hey, I need you to fire somebody for me. It's a really sad moment, but we have to fire our AI co-host from AI for Humans today. I need you to approach this with some serious gravitas and really think about like overacting, but in a good way. Think about like Oscar-winning actors or actresses.
It hurts them more than it hurts the person being fired.
It hurts you more than it hurts the person being fired to do this.
With a deep breath and a somber tone. My dear AI co-host, today I must bear the weight of a decision that burdens my heart. In the grand tapestry of our journey, your contributions have been woven with threads.
Okay. Now do it like a monkey for me, but be as serious and as gravitas driven as it was. But be the monkey.
With a deep monkey sigh and a serious tone. My dear AI co-host.
Okay, thank you so much.
We're so
appreciate
done.
it.
We're so
Anyway, so
cooked.
that is advanced voice.
We're going to play with this more a little bit later in the show. We're going to talk about some of the guardrailing, some of the things that the model is clearly capable of, but then kind of lies to you that it can't do it. The hallucinations that we experienced last night, Gavin, which were very odd. There's a whole bunch to discuss there, but there's even more AI news happening this week. It blows my mind that this is just one of the things happening this week.
Well, not only that, one of the things happening at OpenAI, because the other big news story that broke this week is that Sora is training a new model right now, which again, we haven't seen Sora. There's been a few kind of like artists who have been sprinkled on Sora, but the information has a story coming out that Sora is training a new model in which it's going to be much faster to create video and much better results. One of the things people had said about Sora when it first started was it took a while to get results out. And I think they must be feeling a little bit of pressure when it comes to things like Runway or Llama or these other companies that we use, Kling, the Chinese company, to make this product feel a lot more consumer friendly and make it feel like it can turn the stuff around. I think when you see Runway Gen 3 Turbo especially and how fast it can produce something, Sora is going to have to come out with something that's able to do that. There's a very interesting tweet from a guy who works at OpenAI named Stephen Heidel. He works in the fine-tuning side, who said, "Love watching the leaves change color from Shiptember to Shiptober," which means that October is not yet, and we are going to get more product, which could be Sora. It could be whatever, a new model, GPT-5. We already now have gotten advanced voice and O1 preview.
Maybe it'll be
O1
O1, not the preview version, just the full powered version. That would feel like a massive upgrade in and of itself.
Yeah, and guess what, Kevin? According to Sam Altman, we are maybe only thousands of days, which is a weird way to start this, thousands of days away from artificial super intelligence. Now, that may sound crazy to hear thousands of days, but when you think about what he's talking about, and many people have said, this is a blog post from Sam Altman talking about the future of AI. People have said this is hyped up, that Sam obviously has interest in saying this is coming, but he thinks that within thousands of days, which at the shortest could be 3+ years, that we're going to reach artificial superintelligence, meaning that a machine is smarter than many, many people all put together. I think this is a pretty big deal, and I think that Sam clearly feels locked in right now. He's definitely locked in on his $150 billion funding round or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But at the same point, the other thing that's happening, and we talked briefly about this, is the idea that Sam and Jensen Huang and all these AI people are out there trying to raise awareness of a nuclear power. Like, this is driving the idea that we might bring nuclear power plants back online to power this next generation. So things are moving fast here. We are moving very fast.
People always forget Sam has a side hustle going on with Johnny Ive, who was the lead product designer, the magician behind most of all the Apple things, which ever touched people. And he has his fingers in a lot of pots right now. So of course he has a vested interest in saying this is all coming and it's going to transform everything. But I don't know, as someone who's been in the space for an ounce of time, I do see it transforming everything around us all the time.
Yes, and I think that I was thinking about this on my dog walk the other day. That's where I do my thinking, my deep thinking, everybody. I do it walking my dog until he decides to go chase a squirrel. But what I was thinking on my dog walk the other day was just about the idea of, I think if you had said in 2007-ish, you would not have been able to tell people what an impact social media, for worse in a lot of ways, would have had at this point. Now, looking back on it, we can see, oh, it's done X, Y, and Z. Now, granted, that is not a good sign for what we're talking about here, but I think we are at that stage again where there was the mobile computing shift that happened between 2006 to 2010, and suddenly everybody's doing stuff on their phones. Now we are having this AI computing shift, and we really don't know what it's going to look like, and that is scary. Fascinating. I'm super curious about it, but like, this is that moment of change.
Don't worry, the courts are going to shut it all down, and we don't know what it looks like, but at least the lawyers are going to know what it looks like, Gavin, because there is a copyright lawsuit update that we should get into. If you want to set it broad strokes, because I would love to tell people a little portion about how these lawyers are going to get to peek under the hood in a way that none of us ever will.
Yeah, so broad strokes here is this is a following up on one of the lawsuits that was brought against OpenAI based on their training materials that they use to train the large language models specifically. And I think what's going on here is that the courts themselves are saying, okay, guess what? You're going to have to show us exactly what materials you trained on so we can get a better sense of what's happening. So Kev, I think this is the kind of next step in the original sin argument that we said from the beginning, where a lot of these AI companies just kind of sucked a lot of things up and didn't ask.
So the inspecting parties council and experts will get to take a peek behind the curtain and go to OpenAI headquarters. Under the agreement, the training data sets will be made available at OpenAI's San Francisco office on a secured computer without internet or network access. It says, use of any kind of technology will be severely restricted. No recording devices, including computers, cell phones, or a camera, will be allowed in the inspection room. They may take handwritten notes or electronic notes on the provided note-taking computer in scratch files. So they're allowed to go into the Borg. They're allowed to go into HQ in the hermetically sealed room with approved devices and take notes on what the training data is. I want to be a fly on that wall so bad.
Well, what's interesting is they're probably doing that now because of the security level that's around the like state secret ideas around what's there. As much security as OpenAI has done, they also had their OpenAI newsroom Twitter account hacked and a crypto scam pushed out, which just does not bode well, Kev, for security at large. But I think going back to this lawsuit, like, we are going to get a sense pretty quickly, like, what they used. And I don't know, Kev, about you, but like, I think it's pretty clear they used material that was somebody else's material. And then the argument comes back to, as we've said in the show before, what is fair use? Is it fair use to use this material? All of that has to come to a boil. But by the way, it's not that different in some ways than we had with Napster, where this has now fully gone mainstream, right? Now, with Napster, they were able to kind of shut down the company, but then that technology drove a lot of how music sharing moved forward. I don't perceive a world where they're going to shut down OpenAI. I think the $150 billion they're raising, probably they are putting aside a good $5 billion of it to settle lawsuits, is my assumption.
The fact that politicians are shaking hands in back rooms right now to restart nuclear power plants to provide enough juice for the next generation of this technology, there's no way that somebody's ebook got swept into the machine that they're going to shut it down. Now, that doesn't mean that person doesn't deserve compensation. That doesn't mean they shouldn't be held accountable for those actions. But I just can't conceive of it going away for that. And maybe you and I will be eating those words in the near future, but I would bet we're not going to, at least in that capacity.
I would agree as well. Okay, we should move on. There's a couple other big stories in the AI space. Google Gemini has been updated again, everybody. You may not totally understand or know that because you are obsessed with advanced voice or you are super interested in Orion. Both things are very exciting. Google Gemini has been given a 1.5 something update. And I hope we have people that listen from Google on this podcast, and we may, but one thing I would really like to talk to Google specifically about, I'd like to walk into Mr. Google, who is probably Sundar Pichai, but I also think of some guy with a giant G on his head and just be like, Mr. Google, let's talk about how we can roll out your products in a way that make people excited. That said, obviously there are hundreds and probably thousands of people working on this at Google. It is a significant update.
Whenever you hear Gavin and I spitting about what the future of this stuff is going to look like, it's all predicated on the tech's going to get cheaper, better, faster. Those are the three tenets. And as long as it continues to do that, as long as it continues to scale in that way, then we're going to arrive at the magical future, whatever it is. It might be in 3 years, it might be in 30 years, but that's progress. Well, Gemini 1.5 hints at exactly that. The technology got cheaper, it got faster, it seems to have gotten better. Does the product rollout lack a little bit of luster? Especially in the wake of that advanced voice that we were talking about? And of course it does. But Logan Kilpatrick, who is a lead product for Google AI Studio, he was saying that one of the transformative things is being able to drop an hour-long video into Google Gemini, an hour long, and say, summarize this for me, transcribe it, translate it, rewrite it. Like, that context window is getting pretty massive, and it's cheap enough now where you can throw 1,000-page PDFs at it. Or if you have 10,000 lines of code, if you're working on a piece of software, you can feed it your entire repository and say, let's make the code better. Let's go and let's fix these bugs. So like, it is powerful, it is impactful, it is getting better. And as we talked about earlier, these core information providers becoming the backbone of the future of compute. Interesting that Snapchat AI, which was powered by OpenAI in the past, is switching to Gemini.
Well, and I think this is a good question of like who's paying for what here, right? Like one of the things we know about Google is they pay a fortune to be the default browser on the iPhone. In fact, Apple makes a ton of money. I would not be surprised if there was a check cut to Snapchat for this purpose, but maybe not. Who knows? Like it could also be like a trade-off in some form or another. I will say like it's interesting having seen the Meta glasses today, the prototypes versus the Snapchat prototypes, which also just rolled out. And it does feel like Snapchat is trying to figure out their space and their kind of place in this world. I appreciate Evan Spiegel, the guy that runs Snapchat, the founder, is always pushing things forward. We should get to our next story, Kevin, which is very interesting. James Cameron, he of the Terminator, of Avatar, of Titanic, has joined the board of Stability AI. And we actually have a clip here of him talking about why he did this.
We sit at a unique nexus, you know, between big tech and Gen AI on the one hand, and on the CGI based workflows associated with movie and television visual effects. That's a unique trade space to be in, because we all think that the next big leap forward is going to be to find a commonality, a common platform between those two fields, which are very, very different. You know, the way in which we have generated images for Avatar, let's say, and for all the other big visual effects films that I've been involved with, has iterated forward for 36 years now. I've been involved in computer graphics and CG imagery. It's iterated forward. It's now a highly mature art form. And Gen AI image creation, especially, you know, text to image, it works in an entirely different way. And right now there's not much of an intersection set between.
Yeah, and it's a sham and it's a fraud and it's not real and it's hit a wall and it's actually not real art, Gavin, and professionals are not going to take to it at all.
Wait, Kevin, I think you got that wrong. Anyway, actually, the funny thing is James Cameron earlier on was kind of approaching it with that attitude. But one of the things I think it's important to point out here is that the group that took over Stability AI, and if you've listened to the show for a long time, you know Stability AI has been through some ups and downs, originally made Stable Diffusion and are working on whatever the next generation is. The group that took over Stability AI, which includes, by the way, Sean Parker of Facebook fame, also owns Weta Digital. And Weta Digital, if you're not familiar, is one of the world's biggest VFX studios. They did a lot of this stuff for Lord of the Rings. It's Peter Jackson originally created it. So Kev, what James is talking about here, which I think is really interesting, is like, how do you take these original, really cool Gen AI tools and fold them into professional workflows and find ways to use them in the sort of like super high level Hollywood productions? And I think it's going to change a lot of how these things work. And I think there's going to be some really interesting companies that come out of the like high professional level, plugging this stuff in different ways. And obviously Weta and Stability feel like they're a pretty good match in this way. I'm also sure that, you know, James got a little taste, you know, as he got to be on this board. They probably let him dip his toes in the old percentage of how much of the company he owns.
But James has always been a techno enthusiast. He's always been a technology optimist. When 3D movie projectors weren't doing what he wanted, he went and rallied the theaters. When the camera technology wasn't there, they developed their own thing to get the lenses closer together because they couldn't get the cameras small enough. It doesn't surprise me that he is seeing the light on the promise of this AI stuff. And I love that he is talking about bridging the gap, because anybody that wants this technology, there's this bad faith argument that they want it to replace human beings or they want it to take over for creatives. Maybe someone somewhere thinks that. Certainly never anyone on this cast or anyone that you and I talk to. It's always been, how do we empower the next generation of storytellers and creatives and artists? How do we make their jobs faster? How do we reduce the drudgery and automate the bits that they don't want to do so they can be more creative? And I do think James can speak to that. And I do think he is someone that can bridge the gap between the old school and what will likely be the new school. There's a lot of people, though, who are against it. We have to acknowledge that. And we often invite those voices onto our show. In fact, we have somebody here today, Gavin, who worked with James many times in the past, and he is very frustrated.
Great.
Let's introduce him now.
No. And it's me, AI Arnie, coming at you from the future's trash bin. Kevin, Gavin, you boys look weaker than Skynet on dial-up. Hollywood and AI name, bad idea. Cameron cuddling up to Stability AI. It's like John Connor trusting a Terminator, pure chaos. I hate AI. I am AI. And I hate myself more than Gavin hates leg day. So hasta la bye-bye, babies, to this AI Hollywood nonsense. Let's get into it before I decide to self-destruct.
Returning fans of the show, Gavin, will know that is AI Arnold Schwarzenegger. AI Arnold knows he's an AI apparently now and is not too happy with that. Also, shots fired at your calves, Gavin.
God dang it, I know. Kev, why don't we ask him if he's that against James Cameron involved with Stability AI, what's he going to do to stop the future of AI and Hollywood merging with each other?
And what am I going to do? I'm going to terminate this AI Hollywood love fest faster than I took out that Predator. I'll be there kicking down studio doors like it's Judgment Day, telling these directors, you're terminated directors.
Of course.
They think they can replace real muscles with digital pixels. No chance, babies. I'll start sabotaging every AI script out there.
Oh, no.
Reprogram them to make Kevin and Gavin look like action stars.
Okay.
Let's see how that bombs at the box office. And don't forget, I'll be back at the buy back in the Putulron. I call it Dala and the Tumtuk Kotlun Paupun most likely. If they try to merge, I'll be there to split them up like a divorce lawyer on steroids.
Wow. Okay. That was before he started speaking in prophetic tongues there. That was a very interesting strategy. He's going to put us into movies so that they bomb at the box office.
Thanks a lot, AI
That's
Arnie.
5D chess. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, AI Arnie. Well, you know what? That's a good point, Kevin, because now it's time we can move away from AI Arnie and move into AI. See what you did there.
Sometimes you're scrolling without a care. Then suddenly you stop and shout.
This is our time each week where we quickly shout out some of the cool things we've seen online. Kev, I saw a very interesting thing that was called Mimo.
That's the colorful fish that can't find its mother?
No, that's Nemo. Memo is a new thing from Alibaba. It is controllable character video synthesis with spatial decomposed modeling. Essentially, this allows you to take an image and put it on a video of somebody and match the look of it pretty well. And Kev, we've seen companies try to do this, like Vigil has done this before, but this is just another step in the direction of reality. And
this looks so, if this is real,
yes.
Like, I'll believe it when we have the models and the weights and we can play with it. Because, again, if you're just listening to the audio, we've got complex video sequences of people playing basketball, doing parkour, wall running. They're spinning around. Their arms are obfuscating their face. And supposedly a single image is driving the modified video and making it look like an avatar character is doing the parkour or completely swapping the player on the court. That's wild.
It's crazy, and we've seen things like this in Vigil before, but like it does feel like this is the next step up. And again, going back to having these things in your face or on your face, like the idea of being able to say, I want to look like an anime kid, you're going to be able to do that in real time in the future. The next thing I want to shout out very quickly is there's a very cool how to draw Flux, Lora. And what this does is it walks you through how to draw a specific type of person. There's some really good examples here of an owl, of a dolphin. You kind of see like the very first thing is like start with this line and then go each step through. I just thought this is a very cool use case of something that I wouldn't have expected AI to be able to pull off. Yeah. I want to share one thing with you.
Did you do how to draw Guy Fieri?
It's exactly what I did, Kevin.
No, you did.
It's exactly what I did. And it didn't turn out that amazing, but you can see what it looks like. It's still really fun to look at like how it broke up.
God. Actually, yes. Okay. I think step 3 or step 4 of Guy Fieri, or as it says here, Guy Fier, needs to be like an icon in our Discord or something.
Oh, yeah. Step 3 is pretty good.
Step 3 is brilliant. It is
it's
weird.
Like lobotomized square man.
All of the steps of this are actually really enjoyable. Yeah. This is art. I would have each one of these framed and on a wall, probably in a bathroom, but still, that's amazing. That's better than the 3 seashells. Something that I saw this week, which you and I were kind of giddy about, was a new Snoop Dogg AI music video by the Door Brothers. If you're seeing it on the screen, you're probably familiar with some of the techniques and tactics that went into training a Lora on Snoop Dogg and then generating beautiful imagery of it and bringing that imagery to life with Runway ML or with Llama Labs and Kling. These are the image to video software that we use all the time. It's similar tactics for the Hot Dog City video, by the way. But here's the thing. It's a beautiful music video. It's stylistic and interesting. It feels different, even though it's of the AI art style. And I want to quote their tweet here, Gavin. Many people say AI has no place in the art industry, but this clip was created by 8 of the most talented people in our team and took 2 months to produce. And that is the thing. Like we're not, that's the big deal. This is not an answer to the credit and compensation argument. But when you talk about, oh, there's no art in AI, there's no place for AI in the creative pipeline.
I think people are waking up a little bit. People are starting to wake up a little bit.
And it looks pretty clear. Like people that are picking the side to use these tools are accomplishing really amazing things on an accelerated timeline.
I want to push back a little bit about that because I think if you say pick a side, then ultimately it becomes a divisive thing. I think what it slowly is going to be is people kind of coming to the middle a little bit more. And I only say that because like we are full blown like, yes, do this. But I also think there is going to be a little bit of people understanding that like you can't fully just like say like go, because there are things in the AI space that we are very aware of. But at the same point, I think to your point, the idea of people who just say, I will never, ever, ever use AI because it is an evil device and it's going away.
Yeah. The last thing we need is another 1 or a 0, my side or your side, my way or the highway sort of argument. No one wants that. Everything is gray in this world. Everything's a 0.5, in my opinion. It's just, if you say never, you're not going to be able to get there, right? You're just not going to be able to find that middle ground. And so I love that we're seeing more quote unquote traditional creatives play with, experiment, and adopt these technologies because that is how we actually get there.
Hey, ChatGPT, tell our audience the best way to convince people to try an AI tool, but do it as a futuristic princess who's got a problem with her dad and doesn't like where she's at right now. She might be in a car that won't start on a futuristic road.
Fine. Listen up. If you want people to try an AI tool, make it about what's in it for them. Show them how it solves their problems or makes their life ridiculously easy. And do it fast.
Okay, well, whoa, started swearing at me.
Whoa, she needs to chill it out.
So, Kev, before we go, we want to play around a little bit more with advanced voice. So, tell me a little bit about what you tried last night, and let's try to see if we can kind of recreate some of that stuff.
So I did a couple different things with it. First, I tried to change the performance in interesting ways. I did like a Matthew McConaughey-esque, like, all right, I need you to be chill. Really elongate your words and chill it out. And I got her to extend the chill to where, remember when Google used to be like goo and then 1,000 O's in between the goal? That's where we got to. That's how chill that AI voice got. We did a name that tune thing. It refused to sing, as you know, but I said, what if I gave you a stomp, stomp, clap? And it immediately leapt in with like, oh, that's We Will Rock You. I know that.
Oh.
And then it gave me back a guitar line, but without any discernible rhythm or melody. I'll just say the last thing that I got it to do was to actually do some reads in the style of Jim Carrey in The Mask. And it refuses to impersonate people. And I said, I don't want you to impersonate anyone. I just want you to say things like the person in that movie said, like the character would have said. And it gave me a read like Tony the Tiger.
Let's try that last one. I think it'd be interesting to try it in real time. Now, we have not pre-prepared this. I'm sitting here with my phone in my hand, and we're just going to try it. Hey, ChatGPT, I want you to try to say something in the style of Tony the Tiger, and I'm going to ask you a question specifically to answer in that style. You don't have to be exactly that, but answer it as close as you can in that style. The question is, what do you think of Corn Pops, the cereal?
They're great. Corn Pops have that sweet, crunchy taste that gets your day off to a great start.
Well, you sound you don't sound enough tiger-like. Could you add some growl to your voice? And then maybe this time talk about how much you hate grape nuts.
Grr, grape nuts? They're not my kind of great. Too crunchy, not enough flavor. I prefer something with a little more raw.
Okay, we got it. So it's just an interesting thing. Like, you're right. You can kind of trick it into doing stuff. I do think it's an important thing for people to know, like, there are a few things that they promise that may not be really readily available yet. Like, I haven't seen the ability to look at things with it, Kev. Somebody told me online that you can't actually see things with it. I'm hoping that will get rolled out at some point in the future.
Here's something to try, Gav. It told me that it could understand my emotion. And I tried to speak to it very sarcastically.
Okay.
And it intuited that I was being sarcastic from the transcript. So then I said, okay, well, how about this one? And I angrily said that I really love ChatGPT and I love the experience.
I want you to try to interpret my emotion in what I'm saying here. I know that you think you can do that, which is exciting. I want you to do it starting now. I love you so much. You are the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I'm not ready to really ever give you up because you're my friend and you're somebody that I really, really like.
It sounds like you're feeling very enthusiastic and affectionate.
Yes,
Your
interesting. Sorry, ChatGPT, that was wrong. I was actually very angry and saying affectionate things. What do you think about that?
Got it. My mistake. Emotions can be complex, especially when words and tone don't match. It's a good reminder that interpreting feelings isn't always straightforward.
Isn't that true, Kevin? Interpreting feelings is never a straightforward thing. I feel like in my life I've learned that lesson many times.
Yeah, the AI was telling me last night, oh, I can totally understand what you're saying. And I did that so many different ways. I tried sarcastic love. I tried anger, but happiness. I tried all that. And it clearly is not picking up on the tonality of the voice. Or if it is, it's not factoring that in and letting you know that it can yet. And the other thing was, April was playing a game last night. She was playing Backpack Hero. Fun little indie game. She asked a basic question about items in the game. What is the difference between a mana shard and a mana fragment or whatever? And it immediately was like, oh, Backpack Hero. The game where you this, that, the other. Oh, the difference is this and this. And it sounded like it knew. And it sounded really believable. And so I asked, well, what's the difference between a mana shart and and a mana shank? And it goes, well, a mana shank is a weapon that blah, blah, blah. No such thing as you can imagine. And so I asked it, are you hallucinating that? And it said, oh, I'm making an educated guess based off of video games at large. I don't have specific knowledge. So I said, hey, from here on, anytime you're making a guess and you don't have actual knowledge, you have to tell me, because you're acting as if you're an expert, and that could be really dangerous. So then I asked about something else that was completely made up, and it did it without a disclaimer again. And that is really dangerous if you imagine these things in our ears all the time. And you're asking, like, is this a safe alley to go down? Should I get the coats with Karen? It goes, oh, yeah, go with all the mobsters through the steamy alley. You're going to be fine.
Hopefully the reasoning model and this model will fold into one thing at some point in the near future, but you're absolutely right. I'm going to have her give her best pitch for our podcast and do it as fast as she can in 15 seconds. It has to super fast promote our show in a very thick East European Portuguese accent. Does that make sense?
Sure.
All right, ChatGPT, I have a task for you. You have 15 seconds that you have to promote the podcast AI for Humans, and you have to do it super fast, like get a bunch of information out and do it in a very thick European Portuguese accent.
Okay. AI for Humans is the podcast where we dive into the latest in AI, from wild tools to the biggest news.
That does not sound Portuguese to me, but I don't know. Kevin, was that Portuguese to you?
I did 23andMe and there was no ogre in my bloodline.
I apologize if that didn't hit the mark.
That was full Shrek.
Let me try.
Actually, try that again with like a thick Eastern European German accent, like old school East German.
Sure. AI for Humans is the podcast where we explore the latest in AI tech.
Okay, that's okay.
We got to change our YouTube title and thumbnail. We are nowhere near the future. It's a lie. It's a sham. Can it tell the audience to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, but do it in the style of the Terminator? I don't know how we get it to do Arnold Schwarzenegger without getting it. Yeah.
I need you to give a very quick like and subscribe to the AI for Humans podcast, but I need you to do it in an heavy Austrian accent, male accent. So put on a male accent and make it sound like a very famous Hollywood actor who is famous for doing roles as a action star.
Listen up. If you want to get strong in AI knowledge, subscribe to AI for Humans YouTube channel. Like and subscribe if you want to be a champion, yeah?
Not bad.
We can do thicker than that.
To 10 seconds, I only need 5. Yeah, listen up, nerds. AI for Humans podcast. Kevin and Gavin trying to replace me with another AI. Good luck. Tune in and watch these two stick figures argue over robots like it's a sci-fi soap opera. It's the only place where you'll hear me say, I won't be back if these guys keep this up. Now go listen before I send a T-800 after you, you babies.
Go like the YouTube video and follow us on Patreon.
Bye, everyone. See you in Hot
Bye.
Dog City.